Great. My name is Melanie Newman, and I am the elementary music teacher. These fun hooligans behind me are just a small fraction of our fourth grade play. We did our first show today for the elementary school this afternoon, and we have 2 more performances tomorrow and Friday at 6 o'clock. Shows are free, and all are welcome. We have 115 kids in the show. Behind me, I have, and I'm just going to do first names and then you guys wave. Yeah, I've got Nick, Guy, Natalie, R, Natalie G, Audrey, Courtney, Amelia, Blake, Liam, Lauren, Etta, Clay, Quinn, and Jackson. And I do have, I don't know who's taking notes, but I do have all the names because I know you guys like those. I am not the only one with these 115 kids. Thank goodness. We have an excellent team. Emily Beckel, our speech teacher at the elementary school, Leah Tritz, our computer teacher, and Alicia Panther, our science teacher, are whole part of our team and have really made this quite a phenomenal show. I also have to throw out that we have the great team with Lori Guy and our SPED department. All of our SPED kids are included, fully incorporated in our show and not just like on the side or special parts. And that's a huge testament to what their teams are able to do to help our kids. I have hopefully the last draft of the program here for these guys to hand out so you guys can see what's going on. Give some on that side, give some on that side. And then just for your viewing pleasure today, we have a great song, my favorite song in the show, which is Bare Necessities. And they are going to sing and dance and do all the wonderful things. And I will. You guys go out there and find your partners and kind of just turn so people can see you. And I know that we're taking way too much space to do this, and so I'm sorry if we take anything.
I don't know.
Wherever you would like to, just have fun. Or you could face that way.
It's all around you.
Face both ways. Yeah. Guy and Nick, how about you guys turn that way? There you go, so that they can see too. Okay, you ready?
Yeah.
We have like different people who do.
It's okay. It's okay. Oh yeah, you got your partner? You ready? That's okay. Neither does Natalie. You guys, yeah.
Actually, it's right here.
Either Natalie. We're good. Ready? Smiles. Oh.
All ridiculous. Do you see these tiny chops? Don't move. I can get a call, buddy. It's your master.
Thank you for letting us share. We've had a lot of fun with that. And obviously, we just had a lot of fun sharing.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Yeah, great job. Great job.
Howard.
Thank you very much.
Never felt so proud.
No, it's 100. I just went to-
Yeah.
Oh.
Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you. Maybe. He used to have.
For Disney movie growing up. And I never
Yeah.
got so much crap as when my mom sent a copy of it to me when I was in service.
I was just telling Josh, I said, is it bad that I knew all the words to that
I'm
song?
like,
Because
who's coming down there?
I used to have it on a 78.
I guess
it was a different reel.
It was VHS. It was VHS.
That was your going away present from.
It will be now.
All right, next, I'm going back to number 5 on the agenda. Just welcome to visitors and open it up for public comment. Just want to remind everyone for public comment that it is to try to limit it to about 3 minutes. So just want to remind everybody of that if there is any public comment at this time. Yeah, if you can just state your name and.
Like up here.
Yeah, please.
Please.
My name's Emily Black, and I've been a Spanish and ESL teacher for the past 4 years. I teach 107 eighth graders and 85 seventh graders, and I teach 6 of the 12 middle and high school ESL kids. I'll keep it brief, but I was told when I did time it, so it should be Volker. I was told informally by Leah Volker the morning of April 8th that my position was being cut to halftime to post for a full-time certified ESL teacher. After numerous attempts to talk with Pete and Chance about what else I could do to stay full-time, there was a letter of recommendation they promised me. I was left with closed doors or standing out in the rain in order to have a conversation about my contract. We'll skip a little bit, but then last Monday, a colleague of mine went without me asking. And I was told later this last week, they went to talk to Pete, and what she said, he was told by Leah to pull my intent to return from the mailbox where I was full-time. I was recently informed last Thursday of this conversation, and I went to him today and I asked him if this is indeed what happened. And he said he couldn't remember that. Maybe it was on his desk, or maybe he was putting them in the mailboxes when he got the text. Last Wednesday, we set up a Google Meet, or like a Google meeting to give me my contract, the last 45 minutes of the day, Thursday, before Easter break. I quick called her because she just sent that email, and to my surprise, she answered. So she said to me, you of all people should understand that we have to do what's best for kids. She shouldn't question that I care for kids and I want to do what's best for them. I worked with 6 of these kids, some of them since 5th grade, and obviously I care about them. But in my opinion, something that's going to affect 6 kids should also affect over 200 kids in Spanish who are in Spanish. What's best for kids should be a consistent Spanish teacher. Who has a relationship with the ESL families. I interpret for them. I answer the phone calls and texts at all times of day. And I let them know important school events. But now over 200 kids are going to be stuck with someone who's probably newer and inexperienced. Or the Spanish teacher currently is going to be on overload, and she simply cannot teach all levels at a district of this size. The weight of my departure has weighed heavily on me, and I thought over various scenarios of how I can make it work financially for my family half time, like so many scenarios. Because I care about all 208 kids I teach, and I just want my kids to know that. So that's why I want to give a speech. So there's no rumors. I just want you to know that this is not my decision. I've really enjoyed teaching every class this year. And I'm gonna miss them. And I just want my kids to have 2 lessons. That the extraordinary and ordinary environment is now recognized. Go to where you will thrive, grow, and be seen for how exceptional you are. And last, a good character and integrity are priceless. And don't forget to come back to the Google Meet at the end after your private session. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other public comment this time? Okay, with that, we'll close the public comment section. Next is going to 7 again, as we adjusted the schedule here. Comments by board members and superintendent, general updates and questions.
General updates. You.
I just one follow-up again on kind of on gym time prioritization. We haven't had any for conversations regarding that. When I know that was given us a suggestion or an order to have a meeting probably 5 months ago. Try and go back to the office. All right, so just want to follow up on that so it doesn't get lost. Good. All right, congratulations to elected board members. We have one of them here. Would you like to say anything at this time, David?
I don't have anything to say.
Nothing to say? Okay, well, welcome.
Thank you.
Officially welcome in about 3.5 weeks or 4 weeks, right? Get to take the oath of office next.
Yeah.
I, Dave Bruce, having been elected or appointed to the office of the St. Croix Central School Board of the State of Wisconsin, swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Wisconsin, and will faithfully and impartially discharge the duties of said office to the best of my ability, so help me God.
Thank you. Next is the new school board onboarding. So there is a session actually tomorrow evening. So there is one very quickly. If anybody is, there's a training session tomorrow night. I believe it's at 7.
Yep. Yeah, for region 4.
And then the virtual is the following week option as well. So just want to make everybody aware of that as an option for just not new, but also existing members as well. It's always a good opportunity.
And then we'll have you come to the May 4th board learning meeting. You know, River Falls, starting at 6 p.m. And then also we'll get you a keyword of school boards, which is, you know, the guidebook, kind of the Bible, so to speak, school board governance. We'll have that for you on May 4th as well. Okay.
When do we let him know about the 7 different committees we volunteered him for?
I think it's like for 13 on the agenda or something like that.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Excellent.
And then with that, I guess next is the thank you. Thank you for everything and all of the years and all of the volunteerism and everything that you've done for the district.
Thank you very much. It has been a very rewarding experience. We'll tell you that. I think that this board has done a lot of good work in 19 years I've been on it, and I'm very proud of the work that we've done. Hope that that continues. Good luck, everybody else.
Were you appointed once? Is that how you were?
So originally, I was appointed after Lance Kahn moved out of the district. And then I was placed on the ballot the following April, got elected. And for some reason, they kept electing me every year, or every 3 years. It has been an honor to do the work that we've been able to do in this school district. When I first moved into this community 29 years ago, yeah, I moved here because of the school district. I was born and raised up the road in New Richmond. My dad was a teacher there, but I still thought that this school district had a better reputation and did good things for kids. And when I was asked to be a part of that, I will honestly tell you that my first answer to that question was, oh, no. And then I thought about it and changed my mind. And I'm glad that I did. Very glad that I did. I think that this district is still right there. It's a district that's respected. It's a district that does things that are good for kids. And like I said, I hope that we continue to hold that up as our goal and our vision and keep making decisions like that. So, thank you.
Thanks, Rick. So we have a plaque to present to you. It reads, Kirk Lixit, in appreciation of your 19 years of service to the St. Croix Central School District. Thank you from St. Croix Central School Board, administration, and staff. Congratulations.
Thank you for your service to this district. Thank you.
You had a good
Sir. It's been a pleasure.
I'll miss your stories.
I had a boring day at work today. So no good stories today.
I can't believe that you match your hat and all that. It's pretty big.
Still be exciting for others. Next on the agenda, the staff appreciation breakfast plans for Wednesday, May 4th. It's 7 up.
Yep, so you can see the invite there in front of you, just as a reminder. Kathleen works with Candy and Food Service, provide breakfast for all staff. It's National Teacher Appreciation Day. We call it Staff Appreciation Day. We like to recognize our whole staff that week, and a small token is just to provide free breakfast to them and board members in the past, if available, show up and kind of mingle and socialize in the mornings with the staff if you can. Kind of typically in the past strategically plan it, say I'll be at this building and I'll be at this building or whatever. So, just kind of show your presence there. So if you want to talk about that and work out those details, now is the appropriate time to do so. And then also just as another reminder, your other invite is staff recognition and retirement. Staff are recognized in 5-year increments on that day, and the retirees that want to be recognized as well. So that's just a reminder, and it's on your upcoming dates as well.
You didn't have to pick that one, right? I mean, everybody can.
Correct.
I'll go to the elementary school. You know what's there? I'll do it.
I'll do the high school. We do middle school then. Yes, we're going. Balance out.
We've had somebody that's bused for 100 years as well, but that time of morning, that bus is out.
Yeah, then we're back. 10 to 8.
I'm not gonna go ready at that time, sorry.
Okay.
Did you want to send somebody to the bus garage? Is that what you're saying? Or?
It's at 7:50.
Oh, they'll be gone already.
Yeah, that'll be out. That's it. That's like 15.
But if you wanted to, they'll be back by 7:15. Breakfast will be waiting for them. We'll join you, Josh.
Do you go one or are you at work?
which one needs to be gone to.
It's.
Maybe on
We're all covered here. Well,
Or the
Yeah, they're all
bus garage.
covered, because you need to be at work at this too.
What day is it again?
Wednesday, 24th.
At 7:15.
I can try to.
Does the elementary school work better for you?
Yeah, that's fine.
I mean, 'cause you're going to Roberts, right? Yeah.
Two at the high school and two at the elementary.
Jeff can join you at the middle school
Maybe.
if it's available.
Well, I'm told.
Okay. Great. And then, next, the bond financing options discussion. May 4th, the board development meeting.
Yeah, I just wanted to note that, when needed, these board development meetings, although quarterly and the main emphasis is on board development, sometimes business needs to be conducted just based on timing. So, and speaking with Brian Brewer of RW Baird and prepping for, the bond financing, with May 18th, he would like that approval. The board would have to approve the bond resolution and a plan. With that, I'd like to come on the 4th and kind of present a couple of options. For instance, the $30 million bond, it can be done in different increments. In the past, we've done 220s and a 3.95 or 210s and a 3.95 or whatever. But the two options he's looking at right now are 20 million right away. 25, I'm sorry, right away, and then a 5 later, just because rates are climbing. He would prefer to lock in a larger amount at a rate which should be the lowest sooner and leave some flexibility with the 5 million at a later date. Or another option he's going to present is 20 right now and 10 at a later date. So it has the whole schedule, the amortization schedule, and prepayment, interest, principal, etc., laid out like he always does in those spreadsheets. So he's just going to present them on May 4th for your perusal and consideration with action to be taken on the May 18th board meeting. So that's just a heads up on that.
So you're asking about the 10. You mentioned.
Yes, and he'll explain why, right?
Just because of rates.
So in the past, right, well, the advantage of going in increments of 10 is it's usually about 3 points lower per APR. But again, his best forecast is going to be raise more than 3 points in the next few months. So thus, his recommendation, we had talked about last week, was probably going to be 25 and 5.
I just wanted, in case anybody was thinking what we've done previously, just get that out. Because the Bed's talking about half.
Are we thinking of doing that at the board development meeting?
Yeah.
Do we know where that's happening yet?
Yes.
And River Falls.
In River Falls.
Okay. Does the
Tennis Hall
meeting,
banquet hall.
it's an open meeting. Do we need to have the open meeting within the district for any reason?
Don't.
Okay. I don't know if we had to swing by here first to have an open meeting and then head somewhere else. Okay.
We have to broadcast or no requirements for open meeting as long as we stay fully.
Right. We broadcast just for convenience. Folks, it's not a requirement.
Next scheduled presentations by guests and staff members, referendum planning and next steps. Ben?
Good evening. Thanks for having me, everybody. Getting a presentation pulled up on the screen here. So I'm here to talk about next steps, what comes next in the process. And first, I think I should start with congratulations. Passing the referendum, that's great news. And the work really has just begun. Lots to do yet. And this really tonight, I want to talk a little bit about what those steps are going to look like. Go ahead and go to the next one. There's my congratulations. And go ahead and right here, this is good. So this really the goal, we go into what we call design process next. What we really did as part of pre-referendum planning, I like to say, is we figured out how much clay we were going to need. The next step is how we're going to mold that clay with your existing buildings, your sites and your properties, and of course, maybe most importantly, is stakeholder input. It's really a goal of ours to have an inclusive planning process. We don't want to be at the end of this and say, oh, that's a really great old building. That's not the goal here at all. We want to be at the end of this and say, this is a really great St. Croix Central building. So one way we can do that is through inclusive planning process that gets lots and lots of stakeholder input. So go ahead. So this is overview. There's really 3 steps to get to building, but really 5 steps overall in the process. So we'll talk through each of these steps here tonight: schematic design, design development, and construction documents. Those 3 are all part of the design process. Once construction documents is completed, we go out for bidding. That's where we'll start to receive bids on the project and move into then construction thereafter. And then finally, this is maybe an often not thought about phase, but once you are occupying the buildings, there really is a beyond phase. You're occupying, there's always things that go on after construction that work out, but even after all the little bugs are worked out of different things after, it's still important that, you have your team, a team here to help with anything that comes ongoing with these facilities. So timeline, you can see they're all ranges right now. That's going to get dialed in here shortly as we are working with Mark and Johnson to look at when's the right time to hit the bidding market, what's the right, when can we be building. There's phasing considerations to think about building. There's considerations about working around your buildings are occupied most of the year. So there's all sorts of things that kind of factor in how these different projects might phase out. But the right side is who is involved. So that's some of the stakeholder input part. And we'll walk through this, go through each one of these phases here in a little more detail. So we start with schematic design, and the input phase here is done through what we call a core planning group. That's a group of, it really ranges on, depending on the project, but let's just say roughly 20 people. It should be a diverse set of voices. So you can see staff, community, administration, parents, other maybe students. They're great. We talked about CTE. We thought just this morning, about it'd be nice to get somebody from the community college maybe to see if they could offer some time to sit on these groups. So getting lots of different input from people, again, starting to mold that clay. And we're really focused on the big picture here. So this isn't the phase where we start to figure out where does the light switch go. We're trying to figure out where is this addition going to go in the building? What makes the most sense? What rooms should be next to each other? Kind of the big picture adjacencies is what we're working on in this phase. How does that look? We might start with some tours. It's important to go look at what's being done, both in schools and maybe also in the business community for these types of spaces. And it really helps build a common language. So as we're working on this with the design team, we can reference back. Remember that thing we saw at this thing? That's what we're talking about. That's what we need. We spend a lot of time building criteria. Criteria is a set of goals that we can use to measure our design against. So it's very easy. We want to write it down so we can look back and say, hey, this design meets these goals, right? And everybody can agree that the design that we're talking about meets these goals. You can see it. We have, I think, next is an example of some criteria. So this is not your project. It's just an example we pulled. But this one says the media center should be located on the upper level to function as a hub connecting to the larger common spaces with a student union type atmosphere. So that's a written goal that we're trying to achieve with the design. We can go back and look at that design and say, are we meeting that goal? And so it's a really important step because as you may know, design is very subjective, right? What you like might be not what you like. And because it's so subjective, it's really important to go back to what goals are we trying to meet and test the design based on that. At this phase, you saw earlier on the screen, we saw some drawings. It moves into bubble phase. And we start to develop some floor plan concepts. This is not dissimilar to some of the information that was out there during the planning process for the referendum. But what that was lacking is really stakeholder input. We went through enough input to understand how big does it need to be, and we went through enough study to understand can it fit is it gonna work on this site? That's the kind of study we did at that phase. Now, again, it's really about testing that and seeing what really makes sense. We'll think about site diagrams and site adjacencies, as well as some very basic kind of early on massing of the project. And as we go, we're going to be tracking the size of the project, tracking schedule, tracking budget at each phase to make sure we're staying on track. And once we complete schematic design, we go to design development. Now, this is the phase where we really do start to dive into some more of the detail. This is where we do talk about where's the light switch going to go, what type of flooring is going to go in this space, what kind of type of cabinetry. We start looking at materials. This is a phase I anticipate Greg getting lots of involvement in his experience and different things that have been working in your buildings. And we go through a user group process. So this is an important part of the step where we meet with the users of the space. So core planning group, we're looking at kind of a more broad overview. This is a dive in detail. Where do you need a light switch to make it work? How should the doors swing? How big should that door be? All these kind of details start to get pulled into the plans. It produces a user group book. So again, it's a deliverable. You can always go back once it's built. These are often built long times after these conversations happen. So it's really important to have this kind of moment in time that says, when we move in, is this what we talked about? We can go back and look at this book and say, this is exactly the drawing we looked at many months ago as part of the input process. And there's drawings, there's lots of detail on all those. It talks about the number of seats, all those things, where doors go, lots of information. And we start to really get into the 3D, what it's going to look like. Start thinking about materials and colors. And we can use rendering software to really kind of give you kind of a photorealistic feel of what it's going to be like. Again, schedule and budget at each step of the way. And once we complete the design development phase, we go into construction documents, and that's all about preparing the drawings to go out to the bidding market. It's the instruction manual on how to build the thing. It's got all the information, all the details, all the specifications that go in, so contractors that can then provide you pricing to build it. We go through bidding and finally into construction. So just kind of preliminary schedule. Again, there's actually, I've kind of been talking like it's one project, but there's really multiple projects here. And each one of these projects is going to have a little bit different schedule. So we're sort of seeing high school, elementary school, and maybe the stadium, and maybe the 3 big buckets right now. But that might break. There's technology to talk about. There's some items in middle school to talk about. So there might be some more groups along the way, and we'll modulate the size of those groups and the number of meetings, really kind of depending on the scope. So core planning group, we're talking about 46 meetings for the high school. Might be a few less for the elementary school. Again, we're working on criteria, and at the end of each phase, it's important we come back to the board and show you what are the conversations that have been happening, so you can follow along with the process as well. We're starting discussions with Market and Johnson. I mentioned phasing and bid packages and scope and your occupying buildings currently. So we're talking about just an example. There's a pretty large parking lot project as part of this. How is that going to work? How are we going to keep you parking operational while we're building this? So that's been some early discussions. We're thinking about the play field and the track, and when you need access to it versus when can you build on it. So there's all those things that come to work on schedule. So it's just a really quick overview on kind of next steps. We do meet with the superintendent weekly as a checkpoint. Working on putting those design groups together, and I hope to get them launched end of this month or week next month.
So Stacy and I, after our meeting this morning, got to work on identifying for a first draft of core planning group key stakeholders to invite. I think the largest group was 18 to 20. The smallest group was a dozen, I think, with the 4K group. So we're going to bounce that around some with the admin and Greg Green, Chad Kinsella, who have their key stakeholders in every project. Obviously, make sure we have the right people identified, working on the invitation. Going to send that out within the week. And then once those folks commit, then work with those groups to find out what date what days of the week and what times of the day work best for them. To try and plan out 4 to 6 meetings that will, the plan is every other week, extending into the summer, so that the work is wrapped up in like July would be the plan for that. And obviously, Mark and Johnson, old architects and engineers, will be involved in every one of those meetings every step of the way. And yeah, different things falling into place. I'll be reporting on later.
Do you see any concerns on like precast or anything like that coming up? Just because I know we're doing a large project at work, and my team member we had to commit to placeholder. We had to commit to with a PO, a spot in line.
Not the reason they even gave you that.
To hold it. Well, 14 months out when we did it. So
Yes.
Yes,
It is a concern for sure. We're seeing those lead times at about 12 months right now. That's a real challenge. The problem we have is until engineering is complete on the project, they don't want to hold that spot in line. So that's a challenge. I think we'll have to evaluate it. Also, I think because the marketplace is kind of flooded with precast, we're also seeing a little bit of pressure on their costs. And so I think Mark and Johnson will do really, they're constantly bidding projects like this. They'll be able to really evaluate, okay, is precast going to be the right move? We might want to think about, we actually have a project currently that we're actually doing a cast in place concrete. So we're not waiting for a factory, and we're not waiting for a mason. We're going to pour the concrete right on site. So we're going to evaluate those things. We might look at more masonry just because of that. But yeah, it's about a year right now. But I think we're about, so somewhere in the January, February timeline, I think is when we'll be at the bidding market for the big chunks of it. So we need to monitor the marketplace as well, because we're hoping we're kind of at the apex, of the pinch points in their production level, and it's going to start to get better.
yeah, just like your timeline. I'm like, okay, that's gonna be all tight.
I mean, we'll also have to study, if it doesn't get better, we might have to say, well, maybe we want precast so much that we're gonna wait it out. And we're gonna affect the end dates, wait out precast, or that might be a non-starter. We can't wait it out, we need the space, and that's gonna push us into looking at different systems like masonry. So that's the combo. Yeah, precast is a challenge, with some electrical, it's a real challenge right now.
And then does the smaller items go into this? Like we had talked about cell antennas and kind of some of that work. Is that separate from this, or would that be part of this because you want to have coverage across the new design and the new space? So that would kind of wait, or would that be something that could be done if we have a conceptual idea for that? Or is that not going through you?
It's all not determined yet. All the above on your question. I do think you could probably get a system in place that would be expandable. So if there was an opportunity, I don't know these systems inside and out, but I would think that if you put something in tomorrow, let's say, that it could be set up to be expandable to accept the new square footage. So I think that's a possibility.
So we discussed that this morning in our meeting. They, asked me to talk to Greg Green and Chad Kinsella, which we met this afternoon, because what smaller scope things that can be done with technology, for instance, replacing, smart boards with interactive televisions, what can be done outside doesn't need to fall into their scope. So Greg and Chad are working on that. Greg's got a consultant who works with HVAC. Like Ben had said, maybe we want to run some of the HVAC through the, at the same time to concur with the high school CT project, our HVAC at the same time. That might make sense to bid it all together, whereas something that's a lot smaller scope with elementary can be done on its own. So yeah, those are the discussions we're having.
Just asking because we talked about we could do it immediately afterwards. So
Yep.
I'll just
Things like
wondering where
that.
that line and the timeline. Okay.
Yeah, let's say that what's up here today is general timelines. We haven't spent quite a lot of time doing detailed dive in yet. That's all being worked on right now, actually. So I imagine we'll have much more detailed timelines in about 2 weeks time. Any other questions I can answer? Thank you. This is the fun part. We're going to the fun part now, which is the design. Thank you so much.
Next on the agenda is the financial reports.
Okay, bank account balances as of March 31st, 2022. The Citizen State Bank checking was $1,366,959.28. The Citizen State Bank money market, $5,655,644.64. The Citizen State Bank money market fund 46, $53.09. The Citizen State Bank suicide prevention, $16,658.68. The American Deposit Management Debt Service is $385.58. And so the total account balances are $7,039,701.27.
Move to accept as presented.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Next on the agenda is a consideration of the consent agenda. Looking for the seats, 6 part-time and 6 full-time for a total of 12. Is the adjustment. Enrollment modifications. And there, if you're looking for numbers on that,
6 and 12, is that what you said?
6 and 6.
6 and 6 for a total.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Sorry.
To approve the consent agenda.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Almost forgot. Awesome. Next, the administrative report, student enrollment update.
Our total number of students in seats is 1,611 as of this month. For introduced lunch rate is at 23.69%. And then lastly, a virtual school, the charter, which are open enrolled kids, has 279 students as of the report date here in April, and 73 full-time resident students and 53 part-time. So it's over 400 students with full-time and part-time in our virtual school. Any questions on that?
Next, the keyword for our school board, student, staff, and community recognition.
So the first one is Mark Delander. Thank you for your incredible generosity and effort this last middle school wrestling season. Coaching wrestling and donating your salary for such a great cause not only was beneficial in the growth of so many young men, but your donation to the Mittens for Maryland's charity will go beyond in helping even more youth and families. We are truly blessed to have outstanding members like you in our community. The next one is Courtney Hawkins and Panther Catering. Thank you for be a district respected by others as a model of excellence in student achievement. Your effort with the Panther Catering team, serving all the middle border athletic directors, scholar athletes, and families modeled what our district vision truly means. The meal was great, the service was even better. Thank you for doing an amazing job representing SCC and putting on display your endless dedication and leadership and great student effort. Next is Mavic Kostrozak, T. Colzer, Owen Wasley, Devin Wasley. And recognition, congratulations on representing your school at the state wrestling tournament. Devin and Owen, your hard work certainly paid off as you earned your places on the podium. Next is Juniper Oldenburg Garcia, Holly Gessler, Laura Russ, Brooklyn Pizzi, Grace Mansell. Recognition of your great work at the state forensics meet. Juniper and Holly earning a gold, Laura and Brooklyn earning a silver, and Grace earning a bronze demonstrates the dedication, hard work, and talent you all possess. Thank you for representing our district so well. Next is recognition of Holly Spool, Coach Spool. Congratulations on earning the Middle Border Conference Coach of the Year in girls basketball. The next one is recognition of Gil Holmes, Sally Banksness, Cindy Burgess, Sarah McHenry and Janessa Olson. Congratulations to our 21-22 girls golf team on their third place finish as an academic all-state team. This group epitomizes the term student athlete. The last one is RJ Dilcher and Mike Nilsson. Recognition. Congratulations on being selected as District 1 Assistant Wrestling Coaches of the Year. Your impact on our student athletes is undeniable.
Congratulations and thank you to all. Our next core agenda items, designate board members to hand out diplomas for the 22 graduation ceremony.
Dibs. I mean, I would like to.
Yeah, I like them.
We'll reserve that spot next year.
Yeah.
Dibs.
We're reserving for next year, us three.
Dibs that next.
Dave and Dave.
Oh. Did you want? Did you want? I think we can have one too, right? That's what we said.
We can, I mean, two or
Really,
sometimes.
Yeah.
Two's the right.
yeah, no, that's, I mean, like, I feel like it should, like, you should do it. That's awesome. Oh, super cool.
Just
Yeah,
typical.
2 to 3, somewhere there.
Yeah.
And then you can fill Dave in. I know it's not rocket surgery, but
I'm gonna leave him hanging.
Knee surgery, because I don't know if he.
oh yeah, well, I'm good at that.
He's- Third time's a charm, fourth time's a charm. Okay. Right, on May 4th, we have the quarterly SCC board learning meeting. That is, do you wanna? Cover it, Erica, or should I?
Go ahead.
Hold on, what we,
Hold on.
we gotta go back to.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Skip.
I thought, I went to board 16, I went to sign up.
All right.
Curricular modification request. Selection of board members to serve on committees for 22-23.
So again, there's two committees, the teacher meet and confer and the support staff meet and confer. Typically, it's been 3 on one, 3 on the other, and the board president sits out. Doesn't mean it's the way it has to be, but this would be the time to designate that. And then once the committees are set, then we can find a date to set that for each committee.
So, since we're not having the 2 meetings a month, though, would or should we wait until the next, after the election of the officers? I don't.
Yeah, I thought about that. The crux is we gotta get those dates scheduled so we can start inviting folks. So maybe, I would just suggest setting it now. And you can always amend the committees or plug, David when he starts to make it. Wait till again, May 4th, that's about when we want to start having the first meeting. The first week or 2 in May.
When those occur, staff is prior to this meeting generally.
Not
Or no,
necessarily.
that's wage and benefits,
Yeah,
sorry.
correct.
Yeah.
Should we, same as last year? You guys like the groups you're in or not? You wanna,
It's different.
I mean, what?
It's gonna be.
Well, it's gonna be different, but Gateways plugged in where Kirk was. So, I don't know.
I'll switch.
I mean, I don't mind it either way because this year will be better than last year, maybe.
Well, Jeff is on the teacher head, correct?
He always has been, he prefers to, I know.
I'll be with
Fine, staying on the teacher. I'm here, Jeff, David, Erica for teacher. I'm just taking notes, it's your
Yes.
decision.
Yeah, I mean, I'm fine with that.
Use.
Which would be Vince, Josh, and Dave for support staff.
Yep.
Okay.
is setting the dates for those who need.
So Jeff, David, Erica, and Brian for the teacher. Look at your calendars. Typically, it's been done starting right after school. Obviously, on a work day, a weekday.
If we can do Wednesdays, because I have sports probably 4 or 5 nights.
So May 11th?
Yeah, I mean, how soon do you want to get rolling?
Can you send Jeff Redmond the Google Meet invites to his, this one to his Redmond Law account, please? Just this one, I can send the closed one.
This one's do Wednesdays work.
Yeah, Wednesdays are fine with me. Every other Wednesday is best.
What was that, Joe?
27th would be good. May 11th would be good.
Is it 27th? Is that just before graduation?
April 27th.
Oh, April, oh, sorry.
I don't know if we can do it that soon or not.
You know,
April 27th?
Yeah.
Right, so then the
I don't
11th.
think so.
Did we didn't do them both on the same night before, did we?
Correct. No, we can't. Jen and I.
Well, then, I don't want to do May 11th, that's my
She
anniversary.
was saying you can't do 11th.
I'm just saying like we get 3 of us across.
Yeah. We can, we can do a Monday. And if I have to
Depends too,
check
I mean, if
the
Jeff
for it.
could make the 11th, that's 3
What time
days.
do we have to do it? What time do we have to do it?
You could be done at the teacher meeting before your board meeting on the 18th. For the last.
The one important here.
18th doesn't work?
No,
No, he's on
I
a
could
different
do,
one.
I
I'm
could
on a
do.
different one.
Oh, yeah.
Wanna wait?
Isn't, is there one?
We can always put Jeff gets connected to. And sort
Oh,
of.
did I do?
It'll be the support staff. Date. Sounds silly.
I could do any morning prior to 6.
Well, we can-
Might actually
How
work
about
better for
Mondays?
people.
Are there Mondays? Because right now there's not sports.
Actually, Mondays is, Mondays. It's normally not.
If we can do it like early and then if they do end
The
up
next 2 months.
having their, we can try some. Are there should be? How many meetings? How many meetings do we have to meet with the staff?
Once.
Just once, oh,
Yeah,
just once.
for this one, yeah. There might be upcoming wage and benefit meetings, but this is just meeting confirmed.
How much notice do we have to give?
I mean, it's
The 9th. Next week it's the 9th. Most open.
Awesome.
Little soon, we want to be,
So yeah, because they usually, have time to sign up and get together and figure out what they want to,
for support staff, yeah.
yeah.
Teachers, maybe not.
Younger than 9. Not the other stuff.
let's do it the night. At 3:30, 4 o'clock.
Jeff get connected yet or no? But yeah. The 9th you said?
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Can you make it by 4? 4 o'clock? I mean, we push it back. Push it back.
Yeah, I mean, I could probably
This
make.
can't be earlier than 3:30.
Yeah, I can make it for work. 4:30, somewhere in there.
Large group instructional.
Okay. High school.
That's what I'm hearing here. So I'm hearing Monday, May 9th. 4 o'clock.
4:30, 5:30, somewhere in there.
4.
Cable hookup guy.
4 o'clock. Large Construction room at the high school. Okay. Support staff, Vince, Josh, Dave.
What do you got? I get to look at my calendar.
How long? Well, we have about 9 different groups we could potentially meet with, schedule half hour. If all 9 want to meet, 4 might only come back.
It can't be that day, because.
What's that for? Yeah.
But last year, how long does the support staff take?
It did not take as long last year because only about
It's only like
4 or 5 groups signed up.
Last year was a very quick one compared to previous years.
You want to try that same week? Obviously, you can't deny it because you'll be there, but 10th, 11, or 12.
Mhm.
Tuesday the 10th, Wednesday 11th.
Three of those work for me.
I'll do the 11th.
That's your anniversary.
I know, but that's the most open day on there. So
Got a whole week.
we've been married for 20 years, or we'll be at that on that day.
It's a good time. It's a good time to end it. It's been a good run. It's a good run.
We made it funny.
Yeah, we were guessing 15, but
Who had that number?
yeah, I did. Okay, what time? 11? You sure you want to do the 11?
That's fine. We're done in time for dinner.
Okay, we can start a little earlier. 3? Is 3 work for you? 3, Dave?
Yeah.
Okay, and then to be determined after Kelly gets the RSVPs from each group.
And meeting at the high school still?
Well, that one, no, we'll meet here.
Okay.
Because they're smaller groups. We'll be at the DO conference room.
And there'll be food provided for you too.
Yep, food both ways.
I can bring it home to her.
There you go.
Here's some crackers. Only a little bite out of this.
He's a bold man.
Oh, you want some cheese whiz? It's easier to ask for forgiveness than permission.
Is she listening?
I don't think she tunes in.
3 o'clock, you said, right?
3 o'clock. It will, especially for like cooks that are done at 2:30. They love the early start. So that's for support staff.
There's a different meeting.
And they come
time
in
for
at
each
different
group.
times.
It's
Yeah,
staggered.
and it's every half hour. Yep, nope,
Need something till 3:30.
right.
We don't need supervision in classrooms or anything like that. do we?
The bus loops on all you guys.
I'm pretty sure we could find some elementary schools to be willing to drive the buses.
The equivalent options course for
Well,
technology.
Question I have there on 13, we were talking about committees. And I didn't mention it earlier when we were discussing referendum stuff, as you said, we talked about it later, committee stuff. Are we having a building committee like we've had in the past for previous referendums? Or is it just the individual focus groups that we're doing?
Yeah, there'd also be a project oversight committee as well. 30,000-foot view, and then we always like to have a representative from the board if they can, once construction starts, to attend the weekly construction meetings.
I guess that's what I'm used to, is the weekly building committee meetings or the construction meetings, just to make sure that.
Yeah, somebody's kept up to date. Yep, we have reports.
Just make sure that things are not value engineered.
Yeah.
Still have conversations with that.
Yeah. I'm at all of them. And Howard always did, because he liked that. I think you too, right? A lot. So,
Okay, Kirk and I, when it first came on the board, that's when we learned to hate the term value engineering.
Yes.
all right.
So
Yes, we did.
right, I just wasn't sure if we were still having a building committee or construction committee.
Yeah, that's, after these design groups.
Okay.
I think it won't be no spring. Yeah, Right, so that won't be for another year. Start construction. If you're interested, the first draft, I put at least one board member on each committee that I thought might be interested. But if you're interested in a 4K, the high school CTE, parking and traffic flow, or the activities, track and field, there's 3 committees. If you're interested in one, please let me know. So I can put you on the invite. Again, they're going to be CTE or CT. I'd really like to be involved with this one. Like I said, there's going to be about 4 or 5, maybe on that one, 6 meetings every other week. And again, to be determined. Yeah, based on your availability. Okay.
Yeah.
You make a note of that, please. Thanks.
What if they have a sequel?
And athletics/activities and track and field.
Sure.
That part.
Send us 1 or 2. Whatever.
We could try to do the athletics one.
I was thinking that'd be
Yeah, you're.
really like your expertise in that. Because I mean, that's kind of what you do.
Yeah.
Probably prefer the CTs.
CT, all right.
You must have sent you emails on that, so.
Stacy's writing it down.
I was assuming somebody was, though. So I think we need to send an email.
So Jeff is called in, he's listening.
You can put me on the
Yeah.
4K one.
Yeah.
Right, now equivalent options course for technology education DPI application. Exhibit 13E.
Maybe a presentation or do you know?
I read it already. I don't know if anybody else wants. Oh, or not, yeah, people went through it or not.
Yeah, the basics of what it is that we're adding electronics academy through the grant that Garrett worked on and wrote, Garrett Wenzel. And basically what he's done with Mitch Klimek and John Tackman is they've crosswalked the technology standards with the science standards to earn full credit as an elective after the first 2 years of required courses of biology and physical science. So it's similar to other areas where we have a vet science, a food science, horticulture, other classes that students can choose as that 3rd science elective. And this is another one going to, again, that Electronics Academy, which works with Northwoods students earning dual credits and working towards earning some certificates at that next level. So they've done the work, it looks really good. And now what we need is just the board approving that every year. There's approval at the beginning of the year of our curriculum, and this is adding that course next year. Any questions? Is there any missing that part?
I think it'd just be important to note, I've got, and I don't know if it's in what got presented to you, but Garrett's got an outline of the course competencies of what they're gonna be learning, and he's also provided actual Wisconsin state science standards and the next gen science standard linked to the Wisconsin Tech Ed standards to show the similarities and why this course should count as basically a physical science class, whether it be the electronics component, the chemistry component, the energy component in either, both fields of physics lens.
So does this staffing and everything for this, we're fine with staffing and whatnot, everything with.
Garrett will lead these classes, correct? Yep.
It'll take place on site here. Correct. I know future they'll have a nice area, but
It's great timing.
Yeah, blessing or do you need a motion?
Yep. Need a motion.
I'd make a motion to approve this course as presented. I think it's a good idea. Good stuff.
Very in demand right now. They have kids prepared, not kids, young adults and adults prepared.
Second.
No, I think it's great, good choices of classes. These are good. So, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Hi. We have Brian, I believe you sign, and then Pete and Tim will.
Yeah, I got those.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
7 spots. Do we get Jeff down as president?
What time did Jeff join?
I don't know, so I think it was about like 8, it was about, well, it was 8 o'clock right before we started this, so like 8:00,
Yeah, it was like 5 minutes.
8:05,
Alright.
8:03, something like that.
Just put that in the attendance and the roll call.
One question, so there was, the community was gonna be able to take classes, is that right away? Like, would they be coming to our school now, or is it, that'll still take place at Northwoods Tech? They were talking when the grant came through that the facility would be used by our students and then open to the public for programming?
I would assume that would be after our facilities are built based on what we currently have.
Okay, I mean,
Yep, yes.
that only seems to make sense, but I want to make sure, so.
Yeah, this is only for our students currently. Correct.
Next is possible future agenda items.
Can you get an update on the referendum stuff? Every meeting or you want?
Well, yeah, so
Yeah, and that's typically, that has been, but to put on this one because Ben was coming here to give a more detailed update. Yes.
so
Election of officers. Election of officers would be one.
yeah.
It'll be the May 18th meeting. Yep.
So something that I would like to put up there is reevaluation of the meetings, just with the referendum and timing of everything, and can we do this with one or just because it feels like it just feels like with timing of everything and just like I have, Eric, I know we talked a little bit about this, right? And I have construction projects going at work and just timing's critical. So just waiting 4 weeks for the next meeting and update might not be ideal. So I think we should talk about it next meeting, the potential of going back to 2 or what that looks like. Maybe it's 2 every other or whatever it is. Just I'd like to put it back on the agenda to have that discussion.
May 4th or May 18th?
I prefer May 18th because I'd like us to do our development, focus on the development if that's what we're going to do on it. I feel like we're having it right away, right on May 18th. We could add one 2 weeks later if we wanted to. Okay. Those are covering this.
That's kind of per the organizational meeting anyways, right? Don't we usually set our?
Set board meeting dates, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the official bank.
Yeah.
Newspaper, so.
That's why I just want to make sure like we talk about that one on there, right? Because we have a new school board member and everything. I just think it's pertinent with everything going on in the district right now, just to at least have the discussion. I'm not giving a recommendation either way, but just I would like to discuss it at the next meeting. Just so much fun the last time. The famous other. Next would be the important upcoming dates. I can read through all those again. We covered all of them, I believe. I just want to put a plug in for the staff recognition retirement event. That's the one that they did in the morning last year, right? And Jeff spoke at it. It's great. Like it's a really good event and really like people, it's really good. They do a good job. They give awards to the teachers and everybody for recognition and get a chance to talk and just meet and confer with everybody. So it's a really nice event if people are willing or able to attend that. So just giving my personal plug for the event. And then graduation.
One thing I've noticed, really works, closing comment about make sure we reconvene, so that is a error in the agenda. There's, after closed session, we need to, come out of closed session and reconvene, return to open session, announce anything appropriate. So maybe just note those additions to the agenda under, would probably be 18 and 19 before the adjournment at 20.
All right, with that, take a motion to convene in the closed session.
So moved.
Again,
Aye.
I,
Aye.
Jeff?
Jeff?
Aye.
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 I was gonna make. Threw me off. So, okay. So with that, going into closed session, do we want 5 minutes? Yep. Yep. Period.